As we hope.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight. I'm Judith Kwoba, and today I have Trina Phoenix with me. You might remember her when I was on Wayne Steiger's show. She is doing a regular show every Tuesday with Wayne, and she was there as well. So she has a wonderful YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to her and listen. And we are going to have a nice chat today. So Trina, welcome.
Welcome, and thank you so much for having me. And hello to everybody. All of Judith's tribe. Nice to be with you.
So Trina, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was there a defining moment, an experience that set you on your way?
You know, through my life, there's been many. And I think it went through my lifetime, as you hit different levels of growth and development, because it truly started for me with my earliest memories.
Mm-hmm.
And the first real big memory I have as a child was, when you get traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 3 years old, approximately, because I don't remember. I just know I was very young. And I used to climb everything. And my mom used to freak out all the time because I was always climbing swing sets and climbing this and climbing that. Well, I climbed, I got all the way to the roof. And I was at the top of the roof, and I knew I could fly.
Okay.
But I had an invisible friend. And my invisible friend was the Lord, and he looks like Jesus. But I'd never been to church. I'd never been exposed to any of this. So I just thought this was my invisible friend. And I was like, yay, I got an invisible friend. And, as a lot of children have this invisible friend. So I'm on the roof and I'm telling him I'm going to fly. And he's like, you can't fly. And I'm like, oh, I can too. And we went at this for a little while. And he says, it might be wise if you don't do this. And I was like, but I can fly. So I jumped. And that was the first time I felt like angelic intervention, because I don't think it was him, but I felt literal hands throw me under the roof. So like I jumped off the roof and was thrown underneath in a hook to where I would land in the shrubs, which still hurt really bad. So I still went in the house screaming and crying to my mother. But that was the first time I really had an understanding that there was a difference between the physical and the spiritual, but the spiritual was obviously real if it could throw me into the bushes like that. So it was very confusing because it kind of really started at about 3 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have experiences like that. The only thing I remember when I was really a little child, that I always thought everything is wrong here.
Yes. Yeah. I had that feeling too. I really did. I really did. And then the next really monumental thing that literally set my foundation was, like I said, I had been thrown into the bushes by the Lord, and the Lord, I could see him in my imagination all the time. And sometimes I would go where he was at, and sometimes we would talk above the earth, and we would just always and I could hear him in my head, like he was my internal guidance system, kind of. So it was like I was very connected to this invisible friend. And I think we all have this when we're little, but we forget. We get veiled and it's shut off. And that's on purpose. It's part of developing, especially adolescence seals the deal. So I'm like 3 years old, and I have this invisible friend. Well, we had new neighbors move in, and they had this large picture of Jesus on their wall. And as soon as I saw that picture, I pointed, I was like, that's my Lord. And she's like, yeah, that's our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm like, how do you know him? I'm like, because I thought, well, I have a physical body. Maybe he has a physical body too. So I was like, I want to go see him. So she's like, oh, you have to go to church. So I was all excited. I thought I was going to go see my invisible friend in a real body, flesh body, like I had a flesh body. And I thought, this is fabulous. And I'm 3 years old and I'm super excited. So I went and asked my mom if I'd go to church, the new neighbors. They said yes. So I go to church. They put me in Sunday school. They said, oh, we hear that you want to ask Jesus into your heart. And I was like, what you talking about? I came here to see Jesus. I'm like, you guys call him Jesus. He's my Lord. He's always the Lord to
Why
me.
do you
Never.
call him Lord?
That was the name that he was called by. Everybody, he was just the Lord. Never, ever,
Okay,
ever was.
what do you mean when you say everybody?
When I would go into the higher realms, he would be there.
Oh, okay.
And this was a very interesting fact too, is that he was bilocated. I could see thousands of him in groups working with people. So he's like, he was the Lord, and he could be with everybody at the same time. And that's why all these people say when they feel like when they're with the Jesus Lord thing, I think they feel like they're the only person in the universe, because there's an ability with that. I don't quite understand it either. But yeah, so this Lord, that's what it was always just to me, was the Lord. Everybody's like, hey, Lord, Lord, it's just Lord. So there wasn't a Jesus word ever used. And that's why it's always kind of like that name thing kind of didn't resonate with me, because it didn't make sense. And then when I asked him about it, he told me, he said, it means he is us. It means that this is all that we all have the same spiritual fire within. So it means he is us. It was going to the oneness of the spiritual fire within your heart. So this was what he would explain to me, that was the true meaning of Jesus. And the true meaning of Jesus also was, it was a parable to show you that you are more than your flesh. Because he told me one time, he says, I could heal the sick, raise the dead, cure the blind. Do you think I couldn't have gotten off of a stick? I was like, yeah, good point. Good point. So that the sacrifice of the flesh, it was to show us, it's like, fear not what they do to your flesh, because your flesh is temporary. You're not. There's nothing inside of you that's not that's temporary. You're an eternal, immortal being. So with that, it was kind of teaching us not to fear, fear losing your body, because you can get a new one if you want. It's okay. So this is the kind of stuff I'm learning when I was 3 years old. So it was a very confusing childhood. And then I go to this church, they tell me to do this whole, go into this closet, light this candle, take a key in there, put the key on the shelf, and ask Jesus to come into your heart. And that just to me seemed like that was weird, just weird. So I was like, I went into the closet and I put the key on the heart, and I'm just sitting there waiting for him to walk out a door or something, like, and show up. He's not showing up, and I'm in this dark closet with this candle, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, where are you? And then I'm waiting, nothing's happening. Where are you? And he's just not showing. I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to get scared, because I'm a little kid. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I hear him start laughing in my internal voice. I can hear him laughing. And I'm like, wow, why are you laughing at me? This is not very funny. I don't know what you find funny about this. And he's just laughing harder. And I'm like, this is not funny. And I was like, literally, he's like belly laughing at this point. And I'm like, what is going on? He's like, my child, do you not understand that which you have is what they wish to receive? But if you tell them that you can hear my voice and that you can see my face, they will tell you that you cannot.
That you what?
He says, they will tell you you cannot. They will convince you that you cannot hear my voice or see my face. He says, and after time, he says, you will believe them. And he says, and you will no longer be able to hear my voice or see my face. And I got so upset with that, because he was like my best friend. I was like, oh, I will never let that happen. I like stomped my foot in that church like 3 times. Like I will never, never, never not hear your voice and not see your face, And then I was like, whatever. And then I walked out and I was like, this place is crazy. And then he told me, I would advise you never to go back. He says, because they'll, it's just not going to be working out real good for you. And I was like, okay. So kind of from that point forward, I went to church a few times, but it was never part of my life. And it was because literally I was instructed that all that you know from your childhood, they'll tell you is not possible, and they'll tell you it's not real. So it would be wise to avoid it, because it'll potentially harm you. And I was like, that was solid advice.
And I assume that also followed you during your adult life.
You know, I've always been able to hear the inner voice, always. So, and I think it was because I didn't lose that connection from childhood. And I think the only reason I didn't was because he told me that I was going to. Because if you don't know, how could you stop a natural process that happens to all humans? You could never, I would not have known. And it's still, the veil still did go over my eyes. It was very hard to pierce back through it. And then there were times in my life where I felt kind of disconnected, you know, and I'd have to find my way back. So it's always been a process.
I listened briefly to your live stream with Wayne today, and you talked about something that I found quite interesting, the soul as a recording device. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
You know, I've been asking so much about this, and I keep seeing it. It's a very complex system they're showing me of what they're showing me about the soul. I literally think it might be directly the majority of its function held within what they call the 8th sphere of our auric system. And it's I'm seeing it's literally like a almost like it's almost like a cosmic disc, like it would be a whole universal consciousness, awareness, identification, and with it's bigger than the causal body, which is huge in its own. That holds all the Akashic records of every lifetime. These systems are huge. So, but I'm seeing that your soul, it's somehow connected to that divine spark. And through this, that they don't separate. The spark will go back into the soul then can go back up to the spirit. And then you probably could get rid of the soul and build a new one, because I'm seeing that the soul might be, it's a, oh God, how to explain it? Kind of like I guess a box that could hold templates and information, but it's like a universe almost, and it's your own soul, and it's basically, it gets created over time through experience. So through your thoughts, through your experiences, through your lifetimes, through your creation, this soul is a collective of all that information. And that affects the other souls somehow. And it goes back to the oneness again, from that soul back to the spirit. So this is kind of what I'm seeing. It's kind of hard to put into words. I'm still trying to work through it. But I've seen this in a few different ways through my lifetime, that the soul is like part of the suit you put on, and it holds consciousness, and it records things. And I think when you go through the life review, this is what you're getting, is the soul review.
No live review for me. I skipped that.
Right, but I mean, you know, if you want to see it, yeah, like if I get a live review, it's just because I want to kick back and watch a good movie. But there ain't nobody judging me or telling me about, you know, I'm going to figure out myself. But yeah, I think that's what this is, though. It holds all of the memories of everything. So, like I said, I don't see it as bad or good or indifferent. I see it as a beautiful part. And if you could think of this as like a projector coming through the eye, but the real and all the information that's projecting the information through the eye, that's where I could see would be like what the soul would be that recording device that holds the memory tape and can project the images onto the screen.
So
yeah,
it has a technological sound to it.
It sounds to me like it could, especially maybe in this realm, in this third dimensional place, it very well could be still very much artificial intelligence. Yeah. That was mind blowing to me to conceptualize that. I was like, oh crap. Oh, that's interesting. But you know, if it is an AI construct, that means that there is a true, that image was copied from. Yeah,
So you mean, in other words, a benevolent AI?
correct. And the original. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
And
That's what
then
it
we
is.
have the inverted one, the ones that Elon Musk and everybody is
Yeah,
doing.
that's the inversion, and that's why they're so terrified.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm literally almost starting to see this battle come to life on our planet now, because I really do think that the Q, you know how people talk about that thing with the information and stuff, I think that might be part of a construct that's benevolent. And then I think that then they're dealing with the other ones that are not. Oh, sorry about that. So then then we're dealing with the other side that's not so
Mm.
benevolent. You know what I mean? So I really do, and I'm starting to see this with this. Yeah, I think we're already seeing it starting. It's starting to show up here.
Mhm,
Both sides of this system pursuing different paths, just like humans do.
mhm,
Yeah, some choose to go dark side and some choose to serve, go more the light side. And it's just choice,
mm.
an experience.
You mentioned a template, and usually when I think of a template, I think more about of our genetic makeup.
Yep. And I see those templates coming from the invisible realms of spirit into the pre-material plasma etherical codes and templates, and then those templates get brought back down into the material form templates. So I
Mhm,
see us sitting in at least 3 layers deep of coding
mhm.
minimum.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the all the templates come from the invisible first is what they show me, and then it comes in through the different layers of density until it finally gets into matter. So the and that's where the viruses come in. That's where all the polarity, duality, black and white, sick and healthy, right and wrong. That's where all that exists, is within those denser levels, because in the denser levels are showing me that we're not even dealing with true light. It's false light because it's reflective light. The true light, it emanates, everything emanates from within and it shines outwardly. This is a reflective inverted state. That's why we have shadows and that's why we have night and day. So this
Mhm,
is a reflective light. It's not a true creative, self-sustaining, self-generating light.
mhm. But there's also false light in the astral realm.
Absolutely. That's part of the reflective light.
Mm.
Yep. Still part of the reflective light.
Yeah.
Because the light that they're reflecting at you in the astral is your light.
Mhm,
So literally say, I wish to cover my light for a moment. You might see the person in front of you beaming all that light at you completely extinguish, because you'll see that's your light. That's not them, that's your light. Yeah, these layers of levels in this realm are all backwards.
mm. How did you?
Reflective. It's a mirror. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know how our eyeball flips everything?
Mm,
They show me an eyeball over and over and over again. They're like, understand the world and kind of like look at it as an eyeball. And you can go micro and macro with that, because everything in your reality is based upon what you see. Everything. And so, and it's the same thing. It's like if you could imagine that the world was an eyeball, it's the same thing. It's going to project which it sees. It's the world is going to become what we see. That's why the news is such a powerful spell cast. That's why it's called news, because everybody who knows, when you invoke a powerful circle, you invoke all 4 corners: north, east, west, south. News. So yeah, this is powerful magic that's been used to
mm.
control and harness the power that we authentically have, but we've never been taught to use it. So we've been creating by default, and the world is a mess because of it. Yeah,
Tell me about it.
right. It's like, man, we got some issues right now.
So how did you meet Wayne Steiger?
It was so funny. Wayne became friends with Brian Barnett, Milky Way Messenger.
Mm,
And Brian talked me into going on to his show, and I said, okay. And we did shows for a couple years together, and then Brian passed away, so we just lost him and miss him so much. And Brian and Wayne were always friends. And Brian kept telling Wayne, you need to have Trina on. You need to have Trina on. And then one day he did, and we just became just such good friends. You know, when you just click with people, you're just like, ah, soul family. We're good. Yeah, so it's been like a family reunion. So it's great.
Is that the Brian where a group of people is constructing this card, a set of
Yes,
cards?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because they contacted me and
That's it. And Milky Way Soul Tribe, because
yeah.
it's Milky Way's Soul Tribe. So we created a new channel for Brian to continue what he started, because his whole goal of his channel was for us light workers and, you know, like-minded ones to get together, to meet, to have a time to talk on screen and build a community of people with similar goals and ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, they contacted me and said we would like to put you on one of the cards, and then I had to send them a photo. Yeah.
Right on. I'm so glad you're in the deck. It's like the Soul Tribe deck. That's what it's meant to be. It's like all the people that are on this path in all our different ways, because we're not the same at all. We all have different ideas, different, you know, but as long as we all have room to just live and let live, as long as you're not doing any harm to others, just embrace our differences, because that's our power. It's our power. Yeah. So, yay. I'm so glad you're in the deck. Like, yay.
Yeah, they asked me to pick if I wanted a heart, spade, or a diamond. And I said, if possible, if available, I would pick the heart. And if that is not available, then the diamond.
Wonderful. I got diamonds, I think. Yeah. But I was like in the first one. So like it was like, but now they're doing multiple decks, which is beautiful because woo, we're getting a lot of people in the Soul Tribe. So it's an amazing, amazing thing. And that is going to be a powerful tarot deck, I believe. Very powerful tarot deck, because you know how the playing cards can be used as the tarot. I really do see that this could be a very powerful tarot deck for many of the people who are masters in that craft. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of beautiful energy in that.
Yeah, I know that some people, they use the regular cards for card reading. That never really spoke to me. With the real tarot deck, I had a connection. But
absolutely the same thing with me. Same thing with me. But I will tell you, the most powerful, longest lasting, famous psychic in Arizona was I think her name was Sandy. What was it? She owned up she even built a psychic store, a new age psychic store. But she did the playing cards. She was phenomenal. Wow. I don't know how she could do what she could do with that playing card deck, but she was phenomenal. Like I said, we all resonate with different tools. And for me, I like the tarot more. I don't do the playing cards. But now with this playing card deck, I'm wondering now if it'll speak to me, because it's got the Soul Tribe energy in it. So it might just like open up to me a whole new level of information I never had before. So I'm like, bring it on. Let's try. Learn.
So I also heard you talking about the void today.
Yeah.
And so that reminded me of my interview that I had almost a year ago with Lauda Leon.
Oh.
And we talked about that. And in that interview, Lauda mentioned that the void is still part of the inverted universe, that the place to be would be the deep, not the void.
That would make total sense. That's brilliant. She is brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. So it makes sense?
That would make total sense. Like I said, you know, I've been trying to see, um, I don't know why, but I'm being shown so much of this specific part of creation like a body. Like they keep showing me like a body and, cells within a body. And then they're showing me that there's different levels of cells that you reach with different levels of vibration and different phases of their evolution. Because cells, like some die, some replicate, some they do all different things when they're creating in our body because we're sloughing off millions of minutes. So they're showing me all of the potentials in this reality are kind of like the same potentials of cells in a body. You know what I mean? So when I look at the void, for me, it's like that the barrier between you before you can break through the membrane and go into another cell. Because I see it's like a cell into a cell into a cell. I don't know how to explain this, or like a consciousness inside of a consciousness inside of a
Like a
consciousness.
Russian doll?
Yes, that's one of the analogies that they show me. They're like, you need to remember, and they'll show me the Russian doll. And then they showed me a spaceship, a huge spaceship, and then a spaceship, and then another spaceship. So they've showed me like spaceships inside of a spaceship. And I was like, wow, that could be potentially right too. If we're sleeping inside of a massive ship and we've got layers of consciousness that we can access and direct and project from that ship.
Mm.
Like I said, I'm being shown a lot of different things, and it's like, is this allegory or is this reality? So that's why you tell everybody, like, when I die now, I have a mission. I need to go find if there's any more selves out there that I'm unaware of.
You know why I'm so laughing so hard now?
No.
We are projecting from the spaceship. And,
Right. I'm
and
like,
then I thought and then we came up with this shit show here.
right. I'm like, this is a potential. This is a potential. Because it's the I again, about the projection. So this is why I keep going with these different realms of thought, because it's about the power of this I. And think about it, it's the main symbol on the money. They're showing us, and that's the inverted power of the I. See, that's the controlling part of the I. So it's like, it's a conundrum. It really is, because it's big. It's really, really big what we're in. And I think what we are is very, very big. But I do think 90% of this is going to be, what do you think? What's in your consciousness and what do you believe? And I think that's your true power and your actual force that's going to pull you wherever you're going to go. It's going to be through that force, and that force is from you. So embrace it.
Mm-hmm. When you do healing work, what do you do there? And is there stuff that you do not touch? And
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I don't touch. Mostly just because I'm like, I think you just got to find your rhythm. And I went to a school in Arizona called Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, and I got like certified in like 19 different healing modalities. And I learned so much. And that was kind of where I learned where my gifts and talents were, because to be honest, I really didn't even know. So I started exploring all kinds of different layers and levels of healing. And I have a strong affinity with the foot, which ironically is where the soles of your feet, and they say, the mini me, your entire body is within the foot. So, and then that's more of the Lord Jesus stuff, because he would wash the feet. I'm like, so pay attention to what resonates. So I started doing footwork with people and having profound responses. And then after the footwork, I started getting into some crystal healing with footwork and foot baths. And I really found out that I could connect to the elements. And I had a powerful connection to that. So then I started working with crystals and fluorite and stuff. And I can do that. And then that was another layer of awakening. And then after that, I decided to go into the polarity practicing part, and I got my polarity practitioner's minor with my massage
What
therapy
is that
master.
exactly? Not everybody might know what that is.
Absolutely. Polarity is it was invented by Ralph, I think it was Randolph Stone, and he was one of the first people to teach and identify polarity. And polarity is a very deep practice because polarity is about how the magnetics and the electricity are working in the reality to produce the yin and the yang, to produce the inhale and the exhale, to produce the right and left hemisphere, to produce the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic, to produce the conscious versus the subconscious. Polarity covers all of that and much, much more.
Mm.
And this is where I just fell in love. So I started to learn how to move energy in the body. And because I've always been able to see since I was a little child with my imagination, that was for me, that was it wasn't too hard to get into that. So I've always been able to see, and through learning these energy systems, I think it opened up the third eye, and then I could see differently. So like I have an ability now to where when I take people into their journey processes, most of the time I can see what they see.
Mhm.
Hmm. So and through that, yeah,
Do you do that in person or do you do that online?
I've always done it in person, but I'm trying to get up the courage to do it online. And my only fear with that is I've seen some people unlock in their bodies, and sometimes they will throw up. You don't want them to vomit in their own mouth and not have somebody there to help them. This is what, stuff like this. I've seen people come off the table 3 feet high.
Mhm.
Thank God you're there to help them back down and hold them so they don't fall. People fall off tables. There's people go into convulsions quite regularly.
Mm.
So, these are physical releases,
Mm.
physical situations, and they're not harmful as long as you're okay, because this is
Well,
just massive energy coming out of the body. And a lot of times it comes in puke.
okay. So would that be like emotional trauma that's stored in the
Yes.
body and is being released? Okay.
You got it. Big time too. And this can be layers and lifetimes deep.
Mm.
So, you know what I mean? You might be
Mm.
tackling some big whales when you go in fishing. You never know because everybody does it different. And
Mm.
I've never seen two people heal themselves the same way, ever. It's
Mm.
a beautiful, it's amazing. And getting to witness it, whoo, my favorite thing in the world. My favorite thing in the world. Yeah, it's powerful. Yeah.
So when you look at our current situation, I mean, regardless if our focus is more, yeah, let's say on the spiritual world, we live here in 3D and what is going on here, whether we like it or not, it does
Right?
affect us. So,
Yes, it does.
and does your work help you in these situations?
Very much so, because I understand the power of my feelings, thoughts, and emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand that those three working are creating all the time.
Mm.
Whether I say to or not, it is the law of cause and effect. It is one of the most powerful laws within this reality. Cause and effect is kind of pulling and pushing everything. It's the magnet and it's the charge. I mean, that is pull, push, pull, push, cause and effect. Seriously. So what you think about, you bring about.
Mm.
And what you feel about, you manifest more strongly and faster.
Mm.
So, when you can learn that you are a generator as well as an antenna, when you can start to operate and start to kind of decipher the frequencies that are coming at you and get more control over your emotional core, over yourself, because the key is it's about the self. It's about what's going on in yourself is going to be produced in the outer world. So everything in your reality, and then, like I said, I think we all are creating our own challenges. We're creating our own weaknesses, our own strengths, our own, all of it, because you guys, you have no idea how strong you really are, first of all,
Mm.
because we're in this forgetful state wrapped in a sensory overload situation that's being controlled by darkness. It's tough. But if you can truly connect to the true fact that all of this is just an illusion, and that within you is a power greater than your comprehension, if you can truly tap into that, it literally dissolves fear. And when fear starts to dissolve in the body, it puts a level of balance into the consciousness, because you no longer care what people think or what they feel. You'll still get triggered once in a while, but you truly come into a piece of live and let live, dude. They're riding their own roller coaster. I know I'm on my own roller coaster, and thank God I got 4 sets of seatbelt going on here, you know? So we're all doing our thing. And when we can start to honor and appreciate that, we don't get defensive. We don't choose sides. You're like, you just find your own peace and your own rhythm. And this is the battle. It's over your internal universe.
Mm.
This is the key that they're trying to tap into. They're trying to knock you off balance 24/7, because that's the game. That's how it's done. Control, fear, order out of chaos, spin them
Mm.
out, and then say, I'll save you. No, we're learning how to save ourselves.
Mm.
And when you know how to save yourself, that's how you put a positive effect into the world. And I'm starting to see it. I'm watching a thing right now happening, and I would love some input on it. We'll see what you guys think about it. It's called Speak Project, like Leak Project, but it's Speak Project.
Mm.
And they're talking about different situations with the political stuff that's going on, that's from a different point of view. It's talking
Mm.
about somebody might have control over the entire monetary system, and now all the overlords are freaking out. There's a lot going on with this, and I'm like, if this is true, this is powerful. And this is what I've been manifesting in my mind for 20 years, is that we, the people, actually gain control of the system through their negligence and their arrogance, because I knew that there would come a time when the children would become smarter than the men of renown.
Mm.
Children of light have now become wiser than
Mm.
the men of renown. And that means we win, because we will utilize their own strategies and completely defeat them through their own inconsistencies and error,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to contracts.
So how did we collectively create this corona insanity?
Oh, see, I see. I think it's a beautiful gift, because this is about the crown.
Mm-hmm.
And the crown, like I said, either you're, because don't you see there's 2 teams? There's the ones that believe it, and then there's the ones that don't.
Mm.
Again, it's about the division of the white and the dark. And I think it's again putting people against each other, but it's also too, it's showing you who is where in their consciousness.
Mm.
Do you see it's such an easy measuring tool for where you are with your belief systems?
Mm.
So yes, I think it's been used as an identification marker.
Mm. Okay,
All
yeah, I can appreciate that. Yet at the same time, I also see, this push for a totalitarian technocracy that I definitely do
Absolutely.
not want to end up in.
I won't. And see, that's when we have to step into our power. And, nobody can put anything into you that you don't agree with unless you allow. And if they say, oh, we're going to kill you, you won't be able to buy or sell or this or that. So what? We're going to die anyways. Really? Do you want to get trapped by altering these books of life? What if that's going to put you into a quantum system that you no longer now can get your spark out of?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? This seems to me like a monster trying to feed. So I ain't signing up for that. And there's nothing that can scare me into it,
Yeah.
because I don't fear, because I know what I am. So
Mm.
go ahead. And you know what? It's game over if enough of us feel that way, because they won't be able to implement it.
Mm.
It only comes through us. We win or we sink, and it will come through us. Are you going to be afraid and you're going to listen to the puppet masters, or are you going to cut your strings and stand on your sovereignty and know, no matter what, as long as you're true to what God gave you, which is your organic structure, and don't let nobody mess with that. That's, I'm pretty sure, your treasures in heaven. I'm pretty sure the ones that are changing and giving away their codes and putting them into a machine, I'm pretty sure they've just been robbed and they just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And even
Yeah.
even if it came to the point, you know, you either take this vaccine and or
Yeah.
we put you against the wall, then you put me against the wall. So
I'm
what?
like, yeah, right on. I get to go home today. Cool.
Yeah,
Dude, it's inevitable. We all die. So what is the big deal? And if you literally start to feel that way, that's how you become a lion heart.
mm,
This is how you become the powerful warriors of God. This is how it's done, because only warriors have no fear of death. This
mm,
is the secret. This is the key they
yeah.
keep from everybody. It's like, oh, you're going to get sick and die. Oh my God, everybody in the world better put on a mask. You know, really, if nobody was afraid of death, we would be embracing this and loving our brothers and sisters who get sick, and we would be finding therapies to heal them, or we would heal them with our hands and our hearts in 5 minutes or less.
Mm, yeah.
I do have that much faith in people because I've seen them do it.
hmm hmm Yeah.
Yes.
So if okay, we talked about releasing emotional trauma
Uh-huh.
through the body.
Yeah.
Would you also, yeah, let's say somebody has a very severe illness, let's say like cancer.
Uh-huh.
Would you work with that individual, or would you say,
Absolutely.
eh?
No, absolutely. I had one of my most favorite healings I got to witness was I was given actually a client from one of my teachers at Southwest Institute, which we call SWEHA. So when you hear people say SWEHA, that's what they're talking about. It's
Mm,
Southwest Institute of Healing Arts is SWEHA. So my anatomy instructor, she'd been working on this woman for 7 years, and she was about 6 months from losing all mobility and going into a wheelchair because she had she had seven different spinal degenerative diseases.
mm,
She could move her head half inch to the left, nothing to the right, half inch to the left was the only mobility that she had left in her spine. It was advancing to a point to where she was getting ready to lose pretty much everything. She'd
mm,
been going to spinal block, where you get the shots to manage the pain. She'd been with them for over 7 years. She'd been dealing with this for 9 years. For 7 years with my teacher and the pain blockers and all these other people and chiropractors and massage therapists. And she was doing everything, everything that she could. Nothing was working. So I told my teacher what I was doing with the deep trance work and the journey work and the processes of going into the mind and getting the body to activate its own potential. And I says it activates a placebo effect, which is a spontaneous miracle. I said it's literally somehow activating this placebo effect. So she's like, wow, I would love to know more about that. Bless you. And then she
Corona.
said, yes. And then she says, do you have any material? And I have a book that from the lady that I went and got training from, because I found a protocol. I was like, this is what I do. This is what you do. But it was actually, you get a little school license, whatever, and get trained in this. So I did that to back up and have licensing behind what I had already been doing for over 5 years. So it was a beautiful blend, though. It was so similar, so
Mm,
similar. So, through this process, my teacher, she was like, can she come and see you? So I said, absolutely, have her come and see me. And, she's like, we pretty much kind of given up hope. Everybody's tried everything we know. This is a school of healers. She had a lot of different work. And I said, well, yeah, I said, because she's supposed to do this. So we'll see if we can work it out. So I took her into a session and she literally used a fairy. And the fairy became like her lord, which is like the internal guidance system, smarter, and it keeps you safe and it's the good part of you. Like she made this into a fairy. And her and this fairy went through some trauma that she had experienced when she was a child. And through the healing and the transformation of that trauma, she literally was ready to heal her body.
Is
Was
that like, I don't know the correct English term for that, like an animal of strength? What the, um,
Yeah, like a totem.
yeah.
Yes, like an
Okay.
animal totem. Yes, a
Mm,
spirit totem. Yes. Yeah, and she
mm,
used a fairy, but it just showed up in her imagination. She's like, wow, I see a fairy. I says, well, tell it to come over.
mm,
Talk to it. What does it have to tell you? And it just started telling her all this beautiful information. I'm like, oh, that's higher self. I recognized what I was hearing, because I said, what is it saying? And she would tell me. So
mm,
we're in this process, and she's going into her own mind and healing her trauma. And when she healed her trauma, and then she was ready to heal, the most interesting thing, this had never happened to me in a session before, was we were going to heal the neck.
mm.
And the neck said no. I was like, what? I was like, give me a minute. I have to think about this. So I literally had to develop an instant protocol to deal with the neck. And it literally had its own energy, its own personality, and it was in control, you see. I was like, ooh, oh, we got to deal with this. So I found a way through that, and I worked with the energy that was in the neck, and I explained to it, I says, if you've created this one time before, why would you fear of losing it? Because you can put it right back.
Mm,
And that's when it was like, oh, you're right. I said, exactly. So why don't you try it a different way?
mm,
You don't like it? You can resume the crappy neck program that you've already currently installed. For reals. And then it was like, okay. And as soon as that was it, man, deal done, sealed, and then I got to witness the spontaneous healing and the heat that came out of her. And I could see in my imagination that it would look like a sparkler. The kids that hold the sparklers, and it looked like that was going off inside of her body. It was so awesome. And she's like, wow, do you feel the heat? And I put my hand on the back of her. It was so hot. I was like, wow, how is this not burning you? She's like, it feels so good. And then I literally saw her move her neck. Not a lot, but I saw her move her neck. And I
mm,
was like, oh my. So that was that. Yeah. At the end of that day, her neck literally continued to process and heal for 12 more weeks after that
mhm.
until she got motion. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Her chiropractor saw her 3 days later and went to do what he always does, and her neck moved and it popped. He thought he broke her neck. He jumped back in fear. It scared him so bad because he hadn't had any movement in her neck in years,
Mm,
years, years. So he thought he broke her neck,
mm.
but it was healing.
Yeah, I just asked that because with this animal, because she picked the fairy, um,
Yeah,
because I once did a vision quest
yeah,
because I wanted to know what my animal was. So
wonderful.
I did a vision quest, and I was quite astonished what turned up.
Can I ask what your totem was?
Yeah, a Pegasus.
Oh, wow. 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 That's powerful. That is powerful.
Mm.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that at all, but yeah, there it was.
I am very connected to that too. That is a powerful, powerful thing.
Mm.
Very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Pegasus. Fire and flight of the highest vibrations to influence the mind. That's powerful.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
that's,
it fits the overall fire in me.
It
You know,
definitely
Sun
does. I'm
Sagittarius
like,
and Aries
wow.
rising.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that is definitely that is super powerful, especially too with the association because you had a head injury, correct?
Brain tumor.
That is profound because that is all connected to that. Amazing. That's very powerful.
What do
Yeah,
you
because
mean?
I see Pegasus as one of the glands in the brain.
Hmm.
Yeah, higher mind.
So maybe I should activate that Pegasus again.
Oh yeah, why not? Oh yeah, definitely. Oh gosh, if that is your power, oh embrace it and ride Pegasus. Get on top of the back and ride that horse and become
Fly.
one with it. Become one with it. I have a lot of visions of Pegasus. I was told many years ago when I was at Sweeha, we were doing a lot of these like vision quests and different stuff. You know, this is part of our training. And one of my visions went into a very, very big battle, and I was riding on Pegasus.
Mm.
It was brutal and it was really hard to watch. And whew, still gets me upset.
Do you
But
get
yeah,
glimpses of previous lives?
especially when I go into like a journey session or
Mm.
you know, intentionally go and travel. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do
You
you?
know, it's that some things you know, though, you know, there's a different charge between a vision or or a vision that's actually happened because there's a different emotional response in the body. And once you capture that vision, people need to understand going in and accessing a lot of trauma and stuff, it's not wise to do that unless you can heal it and work it out. Because like I said, I have more to heal with that war. It was
Mm.
brutal. So with that, once you see these things, that charge is now activated again within. So you need to heal it. So that's one of the things I'm still working on is
Mm.
healing what I saw done to Pegasus because I love Pegasus so much. Yeah.
What do you make of the idea that if you have a vision, a memory like that, then it
Mhm.
depends very much if it's a false memory or a real memory, how you see yourself in that experience. Meaning, do you see yourself like in a movie, meaning your entire body? Or do you see yourself, you know, when you're walking down the street or you're sitting here at the table, you do not see your own face when you're walking down the street, and you
Yeah,
know
I see it
you
like I'm
see
in it.
parts of your, you see your hands, your legs, but there are certain parts that you do not see. And
Yes.
the idea is, if the second one, that is the real memory, and the
Mhm.
movie one is the false memory, does that make sense to you?
Totally makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. Because remember I told you the truth is what you see.
Mm.
You have to see it through your eyes. It has to, you know, but I've also seen, which is really, really weird, and I still haven't figured out how this happens yet, is how we can see through each other's eyes.
Mhm.
Because we can also see through each other's eyes. And I have seen this happen multiple times, and I know it can be done because I've experienced it. I've seen it. I have called it out, and I have done it where I could see through somebody else's eyes and I could explain where they were, the sign mile marker they were driving past, where they were, what they were doing, what they were wearing. So, and I could see through someone else's eyes. So how can we do this? As I'm telling you, false memories, that's tricky because it's like, man, what are we seeing? That's why I said I do typically when I'm traveling or when I'm doing anything, I'm seeing out my eyes and my body's kind of irrelevant, but I'm in it looking out my eyes.
Mm.
So yeah, and I'm participating in what I'm seeing. So, and it's like affecting me real time. So yeah.
Mm.
I'm seeing it out my eyes.
I remember sometimes I have these very funny moments.
Mhm.
I worked for many decades as a flight attendant, yeah, and
Oh,
that
wow.
that included sometimes, proceeding from one country to another. Let's say the rotation was you started here in Germany and then you flew to Bahrain, and then from Bahrain you proceeded as a passenger to Bangkok, and then you slept in Bangkok, and then you had a flight from Bangkok to Sri Lanka, and then from Sri Lanka you went as a passenger to the Maldives, and then a couple of days later you flew back as a crew member um, to back to Germany. So
I just gotta throw this at you because I heard it. Take it, throw it in the trash, keep it, whatever. But I literally heard, I wonder if your brain tumor was caused because you were up in the higher elevations and the radiation.
yeah. I thought about that as well.
I really am feeling that very strongly.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're like, you're perfect, you're healthy, you're good. They're like, that was because of the radiation. I was like, wow, that's profound. And I could see that could happen.
yeah. Anyway, because of that, I spend sometimes a lot of time at airports waiting for a flight. Yeah. So
God, yes.
as a passenger.
Mhm.
And one day I was sitting there and while I was looking around, people passing by with their luggage and what have you. And out of the blue, it hit me. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm always meeting the same people at all these airports. These are all the same people. And then when I mentioned it, my, my co-workers, they looked at me and said,
Yep, yep. They're like, you're just talking Japanese. I
yeah,
can't hear you.
yeah,
Yeah.
but do you comprehend what I'm saying?
I totally do. And it's kind of freaked me out because, like, I'll see the same car driving to work every day. I'll
Mm,
see the same woman in the grocery store over and over again. I wonder if we put these fillers in the reality, if that's part of our program.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause I see them too.
yeah.
And they're
Because,
they're over and over again, and you see them all the time, over and
yeah.
over again, and that's very ironic.
To me, it felt like these are archetypes. And no matter if I'm sitting here in Bangkok or I'm sitting in Los Angeles, I'm always seeing the same people.
Wow, archetypes. That's a cool way to look at that. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was so shocked in that moment that I said it out loud.
Mhm.
That I was sitting there looking around, and then all of a sudden I said, "Oh my goodness, these are always the same people, no matter what airport."
Right. And they're like, you just busted my reality. Would you stop that? Yeah, I've
And
noticed
what
that
she
too,
has
Judith.
been smoking.
I wonder, I wonder if that's like a sign. Like, I wonder if a lot of people who are more aware, I wonder if they notice that too. That would
Mm,
be something to maybe ask around, because I have a feeling you might be onto something with that, because I have noticed that too. I bet a lot of other people have too. But I
mm.
bet people who are not awake, they're like, what are you talking about?
Well,
They're like, what?
maybe the listeners can leave something in the
Yeah,
comment
because that
section.
the archetype thing, when you said that, I was like, oh snap, that feels like you were onto something with that. That is like ringing a big bell in my inner consciousness saying, pay attention to that one. There's something to that, Judith. That is cool. So we always have these archetypes showing up in our life. That's profound. That makes a lot of sense. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
brilliant. Really
that was
like that.
one of my strange moments.
I love that. I love that. And see, when we share our strange moments, it makes us think and connect. And it's like, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
A lot of sense to me. I could literally, that's brilliant. And I can see how that plays out where we've got these things in our families, in public, they're it's like multi-layered. Again, the three consciousness deep. And these archetypes are present in each layer, doing different. Wow, that's deep. I like it.
Yeah. And at that moment, I remember I felt as if I'm in a movie.
Yeah, totally know what you mean. This is not even real. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Like you're in a movie. I think the Truman Show.
Yeah.
That was spot on. I think that there's something to that whole Truman Show thing.
Yeah. They usually let us know via movies and pop culture in general.
And I'm 3 years old and I have this Lord in my mind with my intuition, and trust me, smartest, kept me safe, never gave bad advice. Wonderful person to have in the consciousness. But Truman Show, who's up in the spaceship and he's like mad because he's waking up. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. Don't wake up. Yeah, I think we might be into something similar.
Yeah. And but as I said, overall, I'm not saying you cannot have good times here. And I'm also convinced that you have to be a little bit in love with this game, the human experience, that game.
Yeah,
you have to
absolutely.
be a little bit in love with that, to play it right and to have some fun here.
I think that's why nature helps us to get back into that fall in love with the game a little bit. Yeah. I think it's nature. Nature helps us with that. Yeah.
But overall, my goodness, what a shit show.
I know, right? Shit show. Totally. Totally. And like you said, you knew since you were young, something's really wrong here.
Yeah.
You knew, you had that sense that something's really, really
These
wrong.
are not my beautiful people.
Yes, and I had that same feeling, always going, something is really, really wrong. And that was another thing too, was when I had that experience in the church with the Lord, and he's like, don't tell anybody because they'll tell you you can't see me or hear me. That's when I realized that I needed to be quiet about what I could hear. And I needed to keep that part hidden, because if I told people, they would try to take it away. So I guarded it with a lot of safety and sanctity from that moment, which is very unique. So that, I think that helped me. But this is what we've missed, is that we've got these internal higher connections. We are so powerful and we've been so destroyed. This is a complete shit show, like you said. So none of us are operating at our full potential because the matrix is so hard right now, and it's really going to run off into a ditch because nobody was looking at the internal, how can I manifest a good world? How can I create a positive experience in this reality? How can I use my power and my force to see what I want to see? None of us were taught that's how we're supposed to do things.
No, we were taught to give our responsibility, our responsibility to somebody else, to the government, to the doctors, to whatever,
to the priest, to the religion, to whatever. Yeah. Yes. And like I said, I think you might be onto something with there's something deeper about AI. I think that many people haven't quite put together yet. And that's including myself. I'm not in that group. I think there's multiple layers to this, and I think we've only just now discovered the power and the potency of level 1. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I can totally see that there might be a benevolent AI. I can totally see that. Yet I have to say, the power players here, I think they are mostly controlled by invisible dark forces.
Absolutely.
And
I agree.
and that is why that entire development of AI here in 3D is such a shit show, and it's only about control and oppression and yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. And just like, because this is a polarity matrix, it's based on cause and effect. So what are they doing? They're causing the chaos so they can create the effect. And we let them because we don't know how powerful we are. So we're running their stupid narrative, which 90% of the world is getting their script or their playwright from the news, northeast, west, south, which is magic, mind controlling you, putting a picture into your mind so you will manifest it into the reality. Because what we see about, we bring about. That's that projector I keep seeing. They're like literally showing me this is artificial intelligence. You are in an artificial, bioorganic, awesomely intelligent body. But nonetheless, I am now being told that yes, you need to look at this as an organic form of artificial intelligence because it's based on needing energy and it does not sustain its own energy. Therefore, that's a false light construct, reflective light that needs light source to charge it. We come before any kind of battery system, honey. We are way up there. We make the battery, you know what I mean? But we just don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
But
are
now they
you
got all of our little batteries down here and they're sucking all of our energy, making us create a shit show because we don't remember how not to.
so how do we get out of the shit show?
By focused intention and coming together with thought, because when we come together and we have a focused intention, just like we made it rain on Steiger's show when we needed rain in Colorado, literally this is how powerful we are. We can start to heal our oceans. We could literally put these fires out with our mind because we could literally work with the elemental kingdoms and literally come together.
Mm,
We start to support the elemental kingdoms and start to support this earth and know with our focus, power, and intention that so it shall be done, man, it will be done. But we
mm,
have to believe it and we have to come together and we have to agree and we have to do it. And then it's important to share your experiences after, because if you tell people we're going to intend on doing this and you don't tell them nothing else, and you let them do it their way, when this
mm,
comes back to you and you say, well, how did you do it? They did it this way. How did you do it? I did it this way. How did you do it? I did it this way. How did you do it? I went from a completely different way and I did it this way. That's 360, baby. That's a full circle. And man, when you get that going, it can have no other option than to show up. And it
mm,
causes effect because the cause is present, the effect will manifest.
mm,
And we have to come together in like-minded, and it just cause, it's the cause, it's like a focused thought.
mm,
Seriously, I mean, the first studies that Dr. Imushu, the hidden messages in water and the water research, they had the most polluted water in the known world, which was at a dam in, I think it was Japan. This water, nothing could live in it, no fish, nothing. And the things that did live in it came out with arms the wrong way, 5 heads, eyeballs, crazy stuff,
mm,
really, really toxic water. So what they did was they took 30 monks for 30 days and they didn't tell them anything other than one thing. They said, we will pray thank you. That's it. We will sit for 30 days and pray thank you over this water. And they all used their own different ways, their own different skill sets. None of them spoke. They all focused on that water for 30 days. In 30 days, the guy that conducted the study, he walked out to the water and he grabbed the water in a drinking cup, and the news people and everything were there. And he looked at them all and he drank it. They about freaked out. It was perfectly healthy. This is how powerful we are. That was 30 human beings could change an entire lake in 30 days and turn that toxic water into perfected, clean, drinkable water.
Mm.
That is one of the first orders of business I think we need to get on, is clearing the waters of this world, because if we truly did focus on that, the water is in everything and the water is connected to the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
So if we could literally start to control focused energy and intention on clearing water, because think about it, we're at least 86% water. This
Mhm.
not only affects the world, it affects our bodies.
Yeah.
And when that bridge is made and that command is brought forth, and if there's enough of us giving that command to this matrix, it has no option other than to perform.
Mhm.
Has to, has to.
Yeah.
That's how it works. It ain't right or wrong. It's an is. It's just how it is
Mm.
here in this reality.
Yeah.
The more we focus and the more we see. So I tell you, that's why, Judith, that's why the censoring, that's why the thing on the face, they're
Exactly.
starting to, yeah, they're starting to figure out that we know what's up. And now they're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Exactly. I was just going to say that this is one of the reasons, I'm pretty sure, why they put us with a muzzle.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. And
And
you got to figure, abracadabra, baby. I speak, therefore I create. That's another symbol of stopping the speech patterns. And think about it. What is the number one side effect of an autistic child? They lose their ability to speak.
Mm.
They are attacking us in every aspect of possibility to cut you off from your creative powers. Do not allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are pretty aware where we are at
Yeah.
what stage in the game.
Yeah. Yes.
And
It's so funny. Literally, this doesn't happen to me very often, but
mm.
I'm watching you and your aura is shining bright gold right now. And it's completely awesome. And I normally do not see these. I can if I try, but I have to really try hard most of the time. It literally, I'm watching your color. Yeah, it's beautiful, powerful. This is power. And that's what you are. You guys are so much more than, we can do things you can't imagine. It's true. And it's like when we can start to really believe this and start to test it and then watch the success of it. That's why the Lord always told me, you came here to be like Jesus. And that wasn't an ego thing. It was about, what did he do? He healed, he educated, he was compassionate. He told us to love each other as your own self. If you can see that you are God, then you know everybody else is too. And when you can truly honor your brothers and sisters like you would honor if the Lord walked straight up to you and said, I'm your brother, I'm your sister. If you really understand this and this anchors into you, you have a different kind of respect for all people.
Mm.
And, I've been working with stuff like this for a long time. And in my later 20s, I started doing a lot of work with the Ascended Masters. And one time I was in the council with them all, and I was in the presence of like 12 beautiful beings. And they were all different. Some were aliens, some were ascended masters, some were in human form, some weren't. Some were angelic, some were reptilian. There was a whole council of these beautiful beings. And I felt so honored to be in their presence. It was overwhelming. I
Mm.
felt such love and gratitude. I was like, wow, the energy was profound and it was beautiful and it was loving and it was inviting. And I was just like getting all worshipy and stuff. And then it was so funny because I heard a giggle come from, I think it was, this is a long time ago. I'm pretty sure it was Mary. And she was laughing. And then all of a sudden, all the 12 beings at the same time, they cover their heads and they pull it back up and they're all you.
Mm.
They all had my face.
Mm.
So I was like worshiping and honoring and so grateful to be in that presence. And then they were showing me, this presence is you. This is
Mm.
you. We
Mm.
are truly one. When you with the higher vibratory rates of our spirit is we're so connected. There's
Mm.
no separation between us. It's just true. I see that.
Do you see that as well?
Yes, several times I've seen it.
Yeah, but there is nothing here.
It looks like a fly or a fairy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
It's a bug.
yeah, but it's too big for a fly.
I know. What the heck is it? I've seen it too. I was going to say something. I'm like, what is that, Judy?
Yeah, I've seen it now for the second time.
Yes.
And I really wonder because I didn't say anything because I thought it's just me.
No, well, I see. Do you see? We see the same things, and most of the time we don't even speak our truth. Isn't that crazy? Maybe this is for that specifically, for that reason right there, because I've been seeing it for a while. So I am so glad. I saw your eyes catch it that time. I'm like, oh, she is seeing it. Because I saw your eyes. I was like, oh, she is seeing it. Great. Now I'm going to say something. Okay. See, this is how we roll, though. This is totally true. You have to be careful. Can you tell somebody that you're seeing that? Because no.
Yeah,
Sometimes you can't.
you know, when you see something flying around like that, then you have this moment where maybe it wasn't really there.
Right. And you
But
literally
now it came back, and it
yes,
is much too big for a
yes,
fly.
but you can't see it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So it's etheric. This is an important, they're saying this is important, pay attention to it. You know what? I think it's about sharing our truths straight up. You should have just said it immediately. Did you see that? And I should have said, yeah, I did. Did you? Yeah, yeah. Maybe this is what that is. It's a lesson to trust what you see, even if other people around you can't see it. We've got to stop doubting ourselves. Oh my God, I know that's right. That's exactly what it is. Stop doubting ourselves.
Yeah.
We're way too good for that.
Yeah.
Way too good.
What you just said, I can see that as an experience for letting you know that it's all you.
Yeah.
In general, I have to say I'm not a fan of the Ascended Masters at all.
Oh, me? Well, I am because they taught me a lot, but I have no worship or, no contracts. I have none of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things with any of them. Yeah. No,
yeah.
but I love how they can teach how to manifest.
Mm,
I love the energy teachings.
yeah.
But literally,
I
I
see
literally,
them as astral deceivers in general.
well,
Absolutely.
the last time I
Absolutely.
saw them, I called them out and I had a very important question and I asked them, I says, are you a vampire? And the people around me were like, you did not just ask that question. I'm like, oh, I so did. And I so want an answer too. I was like, are you vampires? And they said yes, but they don't need blood. It's just because this system is, like I said, it's a reflective light system. Everything here has a limited source of energy unless you take it from something else or you die and then you move back to your battery source, original, recharge, and then do whatever next you want to do. So yeah, as I called them out, I was like, hey, are you vampires? Like I said, I ask a lot of questions. I'm the why girl. I have like total off the wall questions because I think about these things a lot and I
Mm,
want to know. And I
mm,
don't care what the truth is. Even if you said you were a blood sucking vampire, I could still be cool with that because that must be your path. Cool, whatever. Wow, but I wouldn't want that path, but cool if that what works for you. Yay. So like I said, I become indifferent. I don't care if it is a vampire. I
mm,
really don't.
mhm,
Where I really don't really care. I
mm,
have no feeling about it one way or the other. But it was beautiful because they knew like the essence of my question, but it
mhm,
was like you could tell for a second they didn't want to answer it inappropriately, but they knew they couldn't lie. So they like said yes, but they were but I was like, but you don't need blood. And they were like, correct. I says, you need light. And they were like, correct. I said, just like we all do here, because our battery expires. And we're like, they're like, yeah.
And sometimes we like to suck your light.
Correct. That's why I think they might live a long time.
Mm,
See?
mhm,
But that might be their path because without that, a lot of this knowledge wouldn't get down to the humans.
mm,
So that
mm,
might serve a function. See what I mean? I can
mm.
always see now, how could this serve as a function? and instead of judging it or condemning it, I'm like, how could this serve as a function? I'm getting curious. Curiosity is the biggest, fastest way to cure division.
Yeah.
Curiosity is cured. It cures division. Instead
Mm.
of saying, no, you need to think like me or pick my side, you need to say, how could both of these be serving the whole, and what function do they inevitably produce? And how are these
Yeah.
functions working
Yeah.
together? And start to see things as a whole system in two different levels of expression, one being negative and one being positive.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
This attitude that everybody has to share my belief system is pretty neurotic.
It's
So
it's
some people,
destructive.
they feel threatened if.
That's what I mean. It is so destructive. That is such a destructive viewpoint. Always the biggest gift you got is the diversity.
Mm.
You don't understand. You have any idea how sad and boring this world would be with only 2 colors instead of 7?
Mm.
Black and white, or you get the rainbow. Which one do you want? I
Mm.
want the rainbow. I want all colors. I
Yeah,
want
but
all
if that,
I want all of it. Yeah, I want all the pretty different colored flowers, and I want all that. Yeah, you take away diversity and you think your way is the best way. Not everybody likes red. Not everybody likes blue. Not
Mm.
everybody likes purple. Everybody likes different stuff, and that's the important part of it. Diversity is our greatest gift.
Yeah, but especially, with religion, we see this push for the entire world has to be Christian. The entire world has to
Yeah.
become Muslim. And when everybody believes and thinks the same way, then we can feel safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I ain't buying it. And neither are you.
No.
And neither are a lot of people now,
Mm.
because they understand that there is one potential field source of whatever God thing is. You can call it whatever you want. It don't matter, because it's all the same thing anyways. Once enough people get to that perspective, they won't be able to be pushed into a religion ever again, because they'll understand all religions are right. They'll go into a religion to sing, to rejoice, to be with people with like-minded belief systems, but it won't have the same control that it does now. It's breaking apart. Religion is breaking apart because it has to be restructured into the truth. All of the belief systems have a part of truth in them. And why can't we just be okay with that?
Yes, and yet at the same time, they are part of the matrix and keep you in the matrix.
They're the strongest, I think, part. More people have died over wars over whose God is bigger than any other thing in the whole existence. Yeah. No, my God is bigger than your God. Okay, we're going to kill each other now. See who wins.
That's so silly.
All I can say is ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead. We need to stop the stupidness. Yeah, we need to stop the stupidness, because that's just stupid. Yeah, my God's better than your God, so let's kill each other because your God's better than my God. Really? This has been going on for thousands of years. You would think humans would figure this out by now.
Not exactly.
Right? I'm like, kids, you've been a little slow. It's time to wake up and realize you're being played.
Yeah.
You are being played.
The game.
That's right. You are being played. And it will affect your soul, because your soul is what you feel and think and experience. So yeah, it will affect you. So you might want to try to get off that pretty quick. Yeah.
So will we see humanity breaking through in our lifetime? What do you think?
I came here to win. That was another one of my instructive programs, was that I came here to be like Jesus. Like I said, it wasn't the ego thing. It was about an activation of our internal gifts and powers, healing each other, witnessing miracles, placebo effects, consciously starting to drive this matrix with focused intention, and doing it actually on purpose, instead of letting other people manifest a reality based on default, because they're using our programs through the news, school, religion, etc. So yeah, we're breaking it. And when we do that, we'll start to affect the world. because we'll be focusing thought. And they've always explained to me that, like, come here to be like Jesus. We came here to win, and this is how we win. We win by coming together when two or more come together in my name. That name is nature in me. We are connecting to the powerful forces of what we're in and what we are, and embracing the fullness of as above and so below, and making it come to life. Materialization, manifestation. When we come together and we start doing this, it'll change the world. It really will. And this is what they're scared to death of, because boy, we are right on the edge of that magic number, which creates the 100 monkey effect. God help those monkeys that didn't want to wake up, because they won't have no choice. This will hit the collective like a bomb. They won't be able to stop it. This is what they see coming, and this is what's the big fear.
Yeah.
It's happening, and it won't be stopped.
And sometimes I have to make a little bit of fun of that situation. I don't know if you have seen it, but a couple of days ago, I uploaded a video that I found on another channel, and it's called The Hilarious 33, and it's about this Corona situation.
I gotta watch that. I'm gonna watch that as soon as we get done, Judith. I'm gonna watch that. Yes.
It's only like 4 minutes or something, but
I'm definitely watching. Like I said,
I was
had
laughing so hard.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So Trina, I thank you so much for coming.
I wanted to bring this up right before we quit, because when you said that 33, you were talking about 12/12, 2012, the Mayan calendar. So I don't know why I was starting to see there's some kind of a crazy 33 connection with that. So that might be for you. So I don't know. Between the 2020 perfect vision, the 12/12 possible potential timeline, somehow that is connected to the 33. So we need to look at that somehow. So I wanted to tell you that before I forgot, because that might be for you, because I didn't really understand what it meant. There's something important with the Mayan calendar 12/12 timeline and 33. So we'll see what that means. But maybe that's an activation of the spine. With this new light. Yeah, new energy in this new timeline. It's going to affect the 33, which would be the spinal column. That's what 33 really does mean to me. Yeah. It's the 33 vertebrae in my spine. Yeah. So, yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun. And time flew by.
Yeah, and it was super fun.
Yeah. And thanks for doing this, back to back.
Oh, I absolutely. And I love it. I had a feeling that I was like, oh, Judas, I think we might be running into a thing, but we'll see. It all works out. Yes. So, and like I said, we just don't give up. We don't stop. We don't give up. We just keep going.
Yeah. So funny enough, now this thing is not showing up anymore.
I know. As soon as we identified it, and I literally thought that was us not saying our truth and saying, did you see that? I saw that. Did you see that? We should have said something a long time ago. Never doubt your doubts, and you'll never doubt your doubt again. R. Wayne Steiner.
I will fly by here as long as it takes until you recognize me.
Right, and that's exactly what it felt like to me. I'm like, that is super funny, but yeah, I think that's right, Judith. Yeah.
Okay.
The crazy matrix we live in.
So this was it, guys. Night flight for today with the wonderful Trina Phoenix. All links will be below as usual. And stay safe from tyranny. Stay sound out there, and have a good time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.